Right. Hi everyone. So in this video, we are going to discuss informal group discussion. So the first part of okay. So all together for your group discussion, you will have three different videos that you need to watch. So this is the third video. So the first video is focusing on the communication itself. What happens during the communication? What are the elements of communication? What are the effects? What are the problems that occur in communication. So that is first part. Second part, we are focusing on the small group discussion. So basically, we are focusing on, okay, if it's a group discussion, what do you need to know about group discussion? So what you need to know in group discussion, you will have someone plays the role as a leader and the others as the group members. And as a leader, what you need to do, as group members, what do you need to do? So that is the second part. So the third part, we are zooming in, or we are focusing on the informal group discussion. Okay. Okay, now for your assessments, you are going to be informal group discussion. Okay, now let's go. So basically, what we are going to discuss in this particular video, or in this part, would be the formal versus informal discussion. How do you conduct informal group discussion? The problem solving groups, and the step by step. Okay. Now, let's talk about the difference. Okay, how is it difference between formal and informal discussions? Okay, so formal discussion tend to be structured, tend to be organized. Um, Obviously, because that's why it is called formal. And then most of the time, when we talk about formal discussion, it will involve all the big guns, all the top management. So that's why it's a formal discussion. What does it mean by it's structured and organized? You would have, itinerary, or like you would have agenda. So this is what happened. Okay, first this is what happened. Second, what happened. Third, what happened. Okay. And then there were also rules that supposed to be obeyed and adhered by the participants. Okay, now unlike in informal discussion, so the name itself gives you the idea that it will be free form. You are not so rigid in there's no so rigid itinerary. But the main intention of group discussion, informal or formal, you are deciding on a thing. Probably you need to decide on a thing. You need to talk about some problems, probably. Okay. And then the best thing about informal discussion is the fact that, you know, the flow, or perhaps the whole situation, or the session will rely heavily on the participant, and the common understanding between the participants. So informal discussion will not be exercising all this hierarchical thingy. There's no such thing. I am the vice president, you are just the chai chai. Not that. Informal discussion is more of, okay, we have a problem. I would like to know, what do you have in mind. I would like to know, okay, how are you, what do you suggest to tackle this issue. So that is more informal. And then okay, despite the fact that informal meeting is very casual, very laid back, very chillax, but we still need to respect one another, right? Even though I said earlier on, it's not really focusing on the hierarchical part, but you still need to respect a person as a human being. All right, that is not going to be, shut down. Okay. When do you choose, or when do you conduct informal discussion? So if you think that the topic or the issue that is supposed to be discussed not so serious, and you want the discussion to be more relaxed kind of setting, so then that's when you use informal discussion. Number two, you use informal discussion when you know for a fact that the people that are involved are not that many. So let's say below 10, something like that. Okay. And then you choose to have informal discussions because informal, right, it is conducted in a very casual manner. So people will have, you know, people will have, okay, sorry, let me rephrase. When it is casual, so people will be ease and will be less strict. So when it is not really serious, people will give you better ideas because they don't have to think about the gatekeeper. They don't have to really think about, okay, does this sound silly? Does this sound stupid? That part can be skipped because it's informal, right? You just throw whatever ideas that you have. Okay, when to use informal discussion, this is the continuation when you are brainstorming ideas. So there shouldn't be any restrictions. Yeah, brainstorming ideas, whatever ideas is brilliant idea when you are providing feedback or seeking input from others, because feedback and input are supposed to be very frank and honest. So if you make it in a formal discussion, people will be reluctant and hesitant to be frank. And you don't want that. You want frankness and honesty of people. So that's why informal discussion is the best option when you are seeking for input and when you want to provide feedback. Okay. Next, when you have a single idea or a few minor topics need discussion. Again, like I said, it doesn't have to be affecting the company as a whole. Probably it's just very simple, minute things, but you still need to have a consensus. When the same group of people are frequently meeting, so probably you are in a process of finishing a project, or you are involved in a project. So due to that, you need to meet regularly. And then when we talk about project, of course, project is big, but then again, under that big project, you would have a subgroups. So we are referring to the subgroups. We are referring informal discussion of the subgroup, not everybody. Okay. Now, informal discussion often occur in an office setting, but they can also take place over lunch or during a break. For example, like you want to take like 5 minutes break, and then everybody else is also taking 5 minute break, and then, hey, what say you about this thing? I think this is better than that one. What say you? That is informal discussion already, right? They allow more interaction and discussion because people feel that they are more open. They feel that they don't have to abide by certain rules. So that's why, I would say informal discussions can produce better results. Okay. Now, the thing is like this, like it's very simple. If you are if you are in a if you are in a group discussions and you have your vice president together in the group discussion, would you be so crazy with your ideas? Some of you would say yes, but some of you would say, no, miss, I would be very careful with my words because the vice president is there. Unless you are best friend to your unless you are best friend to your vice president. However, even though you are best friend, uh, when working, not use that tie, you cannot use that bond as an excuse that you can be disrespectful to your vice president. Okay. Uh, and then again, the whole idea of informal discussion because you want to get a better feedback. Okay. And the downside of informal discussion, right? Because you don't have a fixed agenda, you don't have a fixed schedule. So it might go more than what it is supposed to be. For example, like, okay, let's meet for 10 minutes, but because of you have a very fruitful discussion, so it becomes 20 minutes or 30 minutes and whatnot. Okay, what happens in an informal discussion? The informal discussion may take a variety of settings. But physical factors need to be considered, a place that is suitable for discussion lah. Okay, for example, like you cannot have a discussion at a restroom lah. Come on lah. Obviously, that is just not logic. Okay. And then what happens in an informal excuse me. Oh my God. What happens in an informal discussion would be, as the participants, you would decide the agenda. Okay, what to emphasize more, what to focus more, what to focus less, what can be, can be mentioned, not necessarily discussed. And then in this informal discussion, again, I would like to emphasize and I would like to highlight the fact that you are more free to talk about your idea, about your suggestions. Okay? And there will be also instances where the participants of your informal group discussion will not be contributing things, but they are there to answer questions. Okay. Benefits of informal group discussions. Because informal group discussions are casual, so it allows for more creativity and interaction because people are not hesitant. And then another benefits of informal group discussion, this is the time, this is the platform, this is the chance for you to get to know your colleagues or your group members better. Okay. And then principle of informal group discussions. Number one, obviously you have to understand the topic. If you don't understand the topic, take time to understand the topic before you contribute, before you give any suggestion or feedback. Okay, because you don't want to make a fool of yourself. And it's not funny actually pun, alright? Number two, encourage interaction. There are some people will feel very not wanting to say anything. Okay, I do understand that because like I do not know because some people tend to dominate the whole conversation, and some people when they see this dominator, they will just taken aback and they will just okay, never mind. I just be here, be present, listen to the discussion, but I shall not say things because I don't think what I say would matter. The moment you have that kind of mentality, you are obviously wrong. Okay, you do not know, like probably the wackiest idea that you have is actually what people are looking for. You never know. Okay, built up. When informal group discussion will be the stepping stone for you to learn how to discuss in a group. So it's like a development phase for you. Because I am pretty sure, I can guarantee, if for the first time ever you join group discussion and it is a formal group discussion, you will not say anything. Okay, you will not say anything. Right. Next. Delivery techniques. How do you deliver your ideas? Right? How do you deliver your ideas? Okay. Right. So how do you deliver your idea? Number one, you have to express your thoughts succinctly and lucidly, meaning that you have to make sure you express your thought in a clear manner. You don't have to hint lah, beat around the bush lah. No need. Right? Remember, whatever playing in your brain, not necessarily the same like your group members. Okay. So that's why the clarity of your idea really matters in a group discussion. If I think I did this particular exercise where when the association game kind of thing, when I mentioned the word black, not everybody will think black as elegant. Right? Not everybody will think that. So that's why when you voicing out your opinion, you have to understand. Not everybody will understand the way you understand things. So that's why the clarity of the idea is important when you are communicating in a group. Okay. And then logical flow, logical flow, Um, let's say, right, let's say the discussion is supposed to be, throwing ideas or throwing suggestions. So before you speak out your suggestions, you have to arrange, you have to organize your thought first. So what comes first, what comes next, what comes later. So that is important. Okay, because this is not reading. When you read, you can refer to things. There's something that you can refer to. But when you speak, there's no subtitles, and this is not YouTube. This is not YouTube video. We are not talking about YouTube video. We are talking about face-to-face group discussion. Everybody else do not have a reference. What you are going to say, what have you said? So that's why if you do not arrange your thought properly, and you try to convince people to listen to your suggestions, it will be very difficult because people cannot see the uh line of thought. Okay, tone. Even though you're so hype, right? So just make sure you be careful with your tone lah, not to offend people, not to criticizing people too much, right? Validation points. Whenever you have suggestions, whenever you have points, make sure you have supporting details to it. Make sure you have a backup so then people would understand. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, right. Next, explanation through examples. Now, sometimes your supporting details are not enough to make people understand. So that's why you need to have. That's why you also need to supplement with examples. Last one, and I would say this is quite the most important one. Avoid fudging facts. If you are not really sure on the facts, on the data, please don't ever mention it. Okay, unless you did a study, you did a reading, and it stated that, okay, 20% of whatever is this, then it's fine. But if it's just hearsay, oh, I heard somebody say this, please don't even, mention it during your group discussions. It's not professional. It's not cool lah. It's not cool, eh? Okay. Principles of informal group discussions, right? Track time. Sometimes when you are in a group discussion, you got so hyped, you got so involved, and you invested so much, then you forgot that, hey, we're supposed to finish the discussion in 20 minutes, but now it's 1 hour already. So even though it's informal, as much as possible, try to make it very focused, right? Take notes. Yes, even though it's informal, but the takeaway of the discussions should be documented. Should be documented. Somebody should document that. So whatever is being decided in that particular informal group discussion, you should record it, and then the record will be a reference. So whenever we need to take a look at what we have discussed, so that's a reference. And then of course, before you disperse, before everybody goes back to their place, make sure you conclude. Let's say, okay, so the conclusion of this particular discussion would be A, B, C, D. Okay. Oh, you know what? It rains back. I like it. Oh my God. And I hope for tomorrow the first raya and the second raya also rain. But okay, the strange thing about these rains right now, it's raining but as also sunny. So in Malay we call hujan panas, right? So yeah. The first part of the video, it was raining. There's no sun. Yeah. Now, stages in group discussions. So remember, when you are writing your report, you have the introduction part, body paragraph part, and then you have the conclusion part. So for discussion also, you have different parts. You have stages. So the first stage will be the opening stage. Opening stage would be the part where you introduce things, the part where you lay out the foundation. Same goes like your writing. Next part would be the stagnant stage. The stagnant stage means like sometimes when you, okay, so this is the problems, guys. We need to discuss about A. So, you know, the stagnant stage refers to the part where people are thinking. People are thinking, people are trying to find the solution, people are trying to find tactics. How do we solve this problem, or how do we tackle this problem? So that's why it's stagnant stage, because when we are trying to find a solution, the discussion will go in circular motion. Alright, dia macam, okay, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. Okay, now silent stage. Silent stage is where, you know, stagnant stage is the part where, you know, this discussion cannot find a way out. Silent stage is where everybody is trying to find the solution. Okay, Miss, what is the difference? You said like stagnant stage just now is the part where, you know, the group members are thinking. Okay, so now let me try to make things clear. Stagnant stage is where the discussion becomes circular. It keeps on repeating the same thing, and then everybody is just trying to talk about the problems or the discussion topic, but in their own understanding. Okay, so that is stagnant stage, because you don't go anywhere. It's just there. Circular kan? Circular. Around that aja. Okay. Now, next is the silent stage. Silent stage is where, okay, now the thinking stage is ongoing. The thinking stage is happening. Right? And then last one is the fish market stage. Fish market stage is the most interesting part, because now everybody has idea and everybody wants to voice out their idea. So that's why it's fish market stage. It's going to be so chaotic. Everybody wants to say things. Everybody has idea. So yes, who is going to win? Something like that. Okay. Situation handling in group discussion. So straying from the topic. So this is something that it's going to always happen, and it's inevitable. It's just that, remember the group leader. So the group leader has to make sure that everyone is still on the right track. So, okay, now, if let's say when you are speaking and there's somebody cutting in, don't go berserk, don't go so like, macam, don't turn into, don't have any animosity. You know, the whole point of group discussion is all about not so much of waiting for you to finish off. Usually the cutting in is the fun part of the group discussion. And you know what? When I do, you know, group discussion assessment, it's very, very less. It's, I would say, like less than 5% students cutting in. Most of the time people would just listen. And then the funny part is when it is his or her turn to say, he or she is saying the exact same thing of what the previous speaker has said. And they don't even realize their idea actually the same. Oh my God. Okay, giving others a chance. Okay, now I think this is the third time already. Do not dominate the group discussion. Even though you have loads of ideas, right? You have to take turns. Learn how to take turns. Okay? It's not good tau. Dia macam, even though you think that you think that you are the cleverest among others, but when you are dominating the group discussion, you don't show professionalism. Okay? Handling a fish market situation. So in such scenarios, maintaining your composure. I mean, like, you know, in that fish market situation, right? Please, what do I say? Please make sure that you don't have to yell, you don't have to scream to your group members. Okay? But okay, so how do you what do you need to do? You just need to know how to calm everybody's down. How to make sure everybody okay. Guys, I know everybody has an idea. Okay, so let's start with you first. What is your idea? Okay, right. Okay, now what about you? What about you? What about you? What about you? Okay, so that's how you tame everybody's down. Closing. In the end, if the group has not reached a consensus, summarizing the main point discussed can be an effective closure. So there will be also instances where when you are in a group discussion, the discussion failed to reach a consensus. Everybody still stick. No, I am not going to agree to that. I am not going to agree to that. So what's going to happen? Probably there will be another session of group discussion, but for that particular session, you just need to summarize what have you discussed. And then you say, okay, so this is a summary of our discussion today. So let's say in 1 week time, we are going to meet again and let's see whether we can have a better perspective on this issue. And probably we can have a consensus. Okay, something like that. Problem-solving groups. A problem-solving group is a collection of individuals who meet to solve a problem or to reach a decision. So basically, when you are discussing in a group, there are many reasons why. So one of them would be the part where you need to solve a problem. And then, when you are in a mission of solving a problem, so it requires not only a small group, a knowledge of a small group communication techniques, but also a thorough knowledge of the particular problem. Now, before you join any group discussion, of course, obviously, you would know what the group discussion is going to be about. So before attending any group discussion, formal or informal, make sure you do your homework. Make sure you read up on things so that when you attend or when you participate in the group discussion, you don't look like pretty face without the brain. We don't want that. We want pretty face with the brain. Okay? Right. Next, common components of problems and undesirable situation, So why problem solving groups exist or why problem solving group happens? Number one, when you have an undesirable situations. So obviously that's a problem. Okay. Or the desired situation. So there's a certain issue. You need to tackle the issue, but okay, sorry, the desired situation. So macam ni, let's say the situation is like this. One of your colleagues happen to not following the rules of using the toilet. For example, like he or she doesn't flush, right? So that is a very small matter. All right. How now you need to solve the problems so that the problems now turn into a desired situation. So the desired situation now is everybody has to flush and make sure whatever business that you do in the restroom only in your memory. Okay? So how are you going to, turn that situation into a desired situation, into a good things? So of course, that is one of the problems. Obstacles between undesirable and desirable situation. There are things that stand in the way between the current situation and the group's goals of addressing it. This component of problem requires the most work, and it is part where decision making occur. Okay, for example, like if your funding is limited, but you need to develop your product. Then how? Kan? The desired situation is you want to develop the product. undesirable situation is you have limited funding. Then how? Okay. Characteristics of group problem solving task difficulty. Difficult tasks are also typically one complex. Groups should be prepared to spend time researching and discussing difficult and complex tasks to develop a shared foundational knowledge. So one of the characteristics of problem solving is in terms of task difficulty. Sometimes, you only discover that you have lack of expertise when the task is something that strange to you and alien to you. Group member interest in problem. When group members are interested in the problem, they will be more engaged with the problem solving process and invested in finding a quality solution. Groups with high interest in and knowledge about the problem may want more freedom to develop and be person. Okay, group member interest problem. Okay, let's say you have five of you like in a group. Okay, one out of the five are so invested on this problem. And because of that, this particular one guy, it could be a girl, it could be a guy, this particular one individual would want to take everything into his or her own account. He or she wants to have 100% control of the problem. So he or she doesn't want or doesn't need the other four to join him. So that is not a good thing. Because why? Because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a group thing, not individual thing. No matter how good you are in tackling or handling the situation, as long as it is a group thing, you have to include everybody. Right? Group familiarity with problems. Some groups encounter a problem regularly, while other problems are more unique or unexpected. When group members are not familiar with the problem, they will need to do background research on what similar groups have done and care. So this is basically what problem solution your report is going to be like. Now, the problem happens in Malaysia, right? It's a first time that happens in Malaysia. We do not know what to do, but right, it did happen in Indonesia, and then Indonesia successfully tackled the issue. So you learn things, you learn the solution, you learn the solving part from what Indonesia did. So that is what it means by group familiarity with problem. Okay, right? Steps in problem solving discussion. So number one, of course, you have to define the problem. You have to make sure everybody that participates in the discussion understand what is the problem. But see, again, if you say A is a problem, you need to make people understand why A is a problem. And then after that, okay, when you have lay out the definition, when everybody has understood, okay, so the problem means this. Next, you need to analyze these issues. Okay. So when what do you need to do? What does it mean by analyzing the issue? You have to, gathering the data. You have to take a look at the causes of the problem. You have to take a look at the previous solutions. You have to take a look at the proposed solution. You have to take a look at the desired results. So yes. Number three, establish criteria. So now everybody in your group will have a different expertise. So and then nobody is better than anybody else. No. Even though you are a leader, you have to understand that your group members could be better than you. You lead because everybody trusts your leadership skills. So established criteria here refers to, okay. So the solution of this problem has to follow this criteria. Okay, generate solution. When the group has already reviewed the research and studied the issue, the group members may begin brainstorming possible solution to a problem without criticizing each other's idea. Remember, when you are in a group discussing, a solution for a problem, nobody should criticizing everybody's idea. Because like I said, you never know, the wackiest idea would be the best fit for the problem. So of course, now when you have, okay, let's say you have found the solutions. Before you implement the solutions, you have to evaluate first. How does this solution work? How can this work? What if the solution doesn't work? Then what's next? What is the plan B? Right, choose and implement the best decision. Now, when you are discussing in a group, it's impossible for you to just only have one solutions. Probably you would have five. One solution comes from one person. So now, after you have evaluated, okay, solution one, this is the downside, this is the upper side. Solution two, this is advantage, this is disadvantage, this is downside, this upper side, etc., etc. So after you do the pro and cons, that is the evaluation part. After you do the pro and cons, only then you have to choose the best decision. Choose and implement, not only choose, right? Develop an action plan to monitor the solution. So now, once you have chosen and implement the solution, it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. You have to monitor, right? You have to monitor how effective the solution the solutions that has been chosen. All right, please watch this video. This is a very interesting video. And I think that's all about it. Yay!